percenters. Yeah. We're the 3%ers. Yeah. You gotta know what your word. Don't need more than just words. We don't just talk it, we live it. You want it, go get it, then put in that word. We're the 3.
Hoorah! Welcome to 3% Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Steve Wilmer. This is not a therapy session. Get to work or get off my podcast. We are creating 3%ers over here. Only 3% of the people, top producing people, think the way that we think. So log in, subscribe, share with other producers that want to become top producers. Guys, we're going to help you get there. Before I get started today, I'm going to give a shout out to Pam. And Pam works for the Maggie Alexander Insurance Agency down in South Florida. And Maggie reached out to me. She said that in the last week, Pam has written 9 life apps simply by implementing the things that she's learned on this podcast. I love to hear those testimonials. I love to hear the stories, guys. Please like, subscribe, share with other people who want to be in the top 3%. Today, we're going to be dealing with the mental battle that every single top producer or high performer must win. I'm going to be going over with you 5 questions. So I'm training, I'm coaching, I'm teaching, and I've been getting a lot of questions. So today I'm going to go over with you the top 5 questions that I get from producers. And I keep getting questions. And maybe next week, I may go over some questions as well. So if you have a question, drop it in the comment. And I want to be able to help you answer whatever the question is you have as well. So today we're going to be talking about these 5 questions that a lot of top producers go through. When I say you guys are going to go through this, if you haven't been through it, you will go through it. Not once, not occasionally. I promise you, it's something that you deal with all the time. And so the difference between average people and the top 3%, it is not talent. I mean, it's one thing if you have talent, but we all know that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. The difference is how we respond when life punches us in the face, when life punches us in the middle of a sale, even beginning of a sale. And if you haven't been through that, guys, I promise you it's coming. I think it was Mike Tyson that says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. But we're going to give you the plan to know how to operate. So here are the 5 questions that I'm going to go over today. People are always asking me, Steve, how do you deal with rejection in a sale? That's a big one. Question number 2, Steve, how do you build confidence? Question number 3, and this is a big one. Steve, how do you get past fear? Question number 4, Steve, how do you maintain a positive attitude after a bad week or even a bad month in sales? My wife calls it being in the pit. And question number 5, Steve, how do you deal with self-doubt? For all of you out there who are in sales, do you deal with any of these things? Do any of these things come to mind? Some of you are shaking your head right now like, yep, I deal with all 5. I deal with number 2. I deal with number 3. Today, I'm going to show you how I'm able to deal with each and every one of those. So let's not waste any time, guys. Let's get after it. Question number 1, how do you deal with rejection? So let me give you guys my mindset on rejection. Number 1, I don't take it personally. If you are taking rejection personal, guys, I promise you, you're making a mistake right from the beginning. It's got nothing to do with you. You see, when people tell me no, my mindset, again, we're talking about the 3% mindset. My mindset is you're not saying no to me. You're saying no to yourself. You're saying no to your dreams. You may be saying no to finances. You may be saying no to your family, your wife, your husband, your children, your kids. You may be saying no to that big house. You may be saying no to whatever it is that you want out of life. So the first thing, how do I deal with rejection, is I do not take it personally. It's got nothing to do with you. Again, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting themselves and the things they want out of life. So that's the first mistake. When somebody says no to your product, or no to your idea, or no to your proposal, they're really giving up on their opportunity. Whatever it is that you're selling. So my number one clients are insurance agents from all across the country. So let's say I'm coaching an insurance agent. Let's say I'm coaching let's say I'm coaching Pam, right? And Pam was worried about the customer saying no to life insurance, if you will. They're not saying no to life insurance, Pam. Here's what they're saying no to. They're saying, no, I don't want to leave my family enough money to pay the bills. They're saying, no, I don't want to make sure my family has a roof over their head. They're saying, no, I don't want to make sure my kids have enough money to go to college. They're saying, no, I don't want my family to have enough money to pay off debt. I want them to be able to stay in debt. They're saying, no, I don't want to leave my family enough money for my final expenses. So how can I be rejected because you don't want to leave anything for your family? That's your fault. That's your fault. It's not my fault. That's your fault. That's not on me. That's on you. My job is to be able to give you the information, to be able to tell you what's going to happen to your family if you don't leave this money. So I don't take it personally. The people that should take it personally is their family. If you're a husband and you don't have life insurance, your wife should take it personally, not me. If you have children and you don't leave your children enough money to go to college, your children should take it personally, not me. How am I, or why am I rejected because you don't want to provide for your family? Now, this is in anything that you may be selling. It doesn't matter. When somebody says no, remember, they're not saying no to you. They're actually saying no to them, themselves, and the people that they love. And if we think about the word no, it says the average person hears the word no and they start questioning themselves. They start thinking that something is wrong with them. Is that you? When you're talking with a prospect or a customer and they tell you no, do you think it's something wrong with you? Maybe you did something wrong. It's got nothing to do with you. I read somewhere years and years ago, and this is like astounded me. Think about this. And it said something like, by the time we are all 18 years old, that we've heard the word no maybe 500,000 times. Did you catch that? By the time we're 18 years old, we've been told no about 500,000 times. I know we hear when we were a kid, no, don't touch that. No, don't do that. No, stop. No. Can I go over here? No. Can I go to Lisa's house? No. Can I go to Bob's house? No. We've heard the word no that many times. So my mindset is like, how can you all of a sudden get into sales, become an adult, and now the word no just paralyzes you? I mean, how crazy is that? How crazy is it that the word no that we've heard from the time that we were a kid paralyzes us and it makes us not move forward? You see, the top 3%, we hear the word no and we immediately start asking questions. And if you've watched some of my podcasts, earlier podcasts, you know my number one question I like to ask when somebody tells me no is, really, why not? Tell me why. Right? I'm the 4-year-old. Tell me why. Tell me why not. Tell me, why would you not want to leave your wife enough money to pay the bills? Tell me why that's not important to you. Tell me, why don't you want to talk about it? So I'm always asking why. And guys, just so you know, the word no doesn't really mean no. It means not right now, like next opportunity. So what you have to do is you have to start reframing the rejection. And again, not rejection from you, rejection for themselves. So every successful person has heard the word no. If you are going to be successful in anything, trust me, you're going to hear the word no over and over and over again. We hear the word no every single day. We quote unquote get rejected every single day. We have failed thousands and thousands of times. At one point, I was the number one team member in the state of Florida. And so a lot of people will ask, how did you get to be number one? And here's my answer. It's very simple. I've had people tell me no more than anybody else. I've had people tell me no more than all the salespeople around me. I'm number one. How did you get to be number one? Steve, are you smarter than them? Hell no. I'm definitely not smarter than them. Are you better than them? I don't even think I'm better than them. Here's the difference. Everybody around me is trying to get the customer to say yes. Where me, my mindset is this. I'm trying to get through as many no's as I can. I'm failing forward. I want to double my failure rate. I want to triple my failure rate. Remember, there are two things that are going to help you in sales. Number one, activity. Number two is skill set. I'm to the place now, I don't get a lot of no's in the end. I get a lot of no's in the beginning. Everybody says no in the beginning. I bring up life insurance. I bring up auto insurance. I bring up any type of insurance. Of course, I get the no. Right off the bat, I get the no. But I start with my questions. Really, tell me why not? Like, why would that not be important to you? I know how to ask the right questions. I know how to find the pain. I know how to frame the questions. I know how to dig deeper. So by the time I do all of that and I get to the end, the no has become a yes. So I'm going to be able to teach you how to do that. So again, you got to ask better questions, right? Why is a really good question to ask. That's the activity piece, X amount of people per day. The second part is the skill set. What can you improve on? What are some of the questions you should be asking? What are the things you should be doing? So let's talk about a Marine Corps lesson. So in the Marines, nobody cares how many times you get knocked down. Nobody cares. In sales, it's kind of the same way. It doesn't necessarily matter how many times you hear the word no, can you get past it? It doesn't necessarily matter how many times you get knocked down. Can you get back up and can you keep moving? So here's what separates a successful salesperson from an unsuccessful salesperson. They both hear the word no. They both get rejected. The unsuccessful salesperson, the reason he or she is unsuccessful is because they give up. Why? Because they don't want to hear the word no anymore. That no takes them down a notch. The successful salesperson hears the word no, but yet they still keep going. They still keep moving. They ask the next person. Unsuccessful, I hear the word no, I quit. Successful, I hear the word no, I ask the next person. I hear the word no, I ask the next person. I hear the word no, I ask, really, why not? Tell me why not. Why would that not be important to you? Why would this? Why would that? How much money did you leave on the table? How much money you gonna leave on the table? Tell me this. Would this be important for this? Would that be important? Would it make sense? Am I right? Would you agree? That's the successful salesperson. Activity and skill set. What matters? Do you get back up? The same applies in business. Here's the key principle. Rejection is not a stop sign. It's a toll booth. Everybody has to go through it. What are you going to do when you hear the word no? Question number 2. This is a big one. I get this question over and over again every time I'm coaching someone new. How do you build confidence? Everybody write this down. Consistency comes before confidence. Think about this. Every single thing that you've done in life, no matter what it is, the first time you drove a car, you were not confident, but you were consistent, weren't you? You drove in the car the first day, you got in the car, you were all over the place. You was nervous as all get out because it was brand new to you. The second day you got in the car, you were nervous. As a matter of fact, everybody in the damn car with you was nervous as well, right? Because you don't know how to drive. But you still did it. Day 2, by the time you were driving the first month, the 6th month, the 12th month, you were not nervous anymore. You had confidence. It works the same way in sales. When you first start off, you're not going to be confident. But consistency comes before confidence. Write that down. Because most people think that confidence comes first. It doesn't. Every single thing that me and you have done in our lives, the first couple of times we did it, we were not consistent. We were nervous and we had no idea what we were doing. So get used to doing it. But what you don't want to do is wait to be confident before you start something new. You don't want to wait to be confident before you launch out into the deep. Remember this. Every winner was a beginner and every master was a disaster. I'm going to say it again. Matter of fact, I'm going to say it on this podcast. I'm going to say it on another podcast episode because you got to get that through your mind. You can't look at me and other 3%ers, top producers, and go, oh, they're so good. You have no idea where I've been. You don't know where I started. You don't know the work I had to put in. Every winner, I don't care who they are, they were a beginner. Every master, every person that you see on stage, speaking, teaching, every top sales person, whatever the case may be, they were a disaster when they started. Anyone who tells you that they were a born salesman, they're a liar. I'm not a born salesman. I had to put the work in. Anybody can talk. Just because you can talk don't mean that you're a good salesperson. Anyone can talk, okay? So you got to make sure that you're putting in the work and being consistent. The problem is most salespeople, they'll say, I'll take action when I'm confident. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. You got to be consistent before you can be confident. So here's the formula. Write this formula down. I wrote this. Action, competence, confidence. What does that mean? Action. I'm going to do it. I don't care if it's ugly. I'm going to do it ugly. I'm going to do it bad. I'm going to do it. I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to mess it up. But then I keep doing it and keep developing my skill set, then I will become competent. I will become better. I'll keep doing it. And the more I do it, develop my skill set, I'll start to become competent. Once I'm competent in anything, then I'm confident. Going back to the vehicle reference. First time you drove in the vehicle, you were scared as all get out. Why? Because you weren't competent. Now you can drive, turn on the radio, talk to your friends, talk on the phone, which you shouldn't be, and definitely don't be texting, okay? But now you're competent. You do it over and over again. You don't even think about it. For those of you, some of you might be listening to my podcast right now while you're driving. You're competent. You hear my words, but you're not like, oh my God, I can't drive and listen at the same time. So remember, action, competence, and then confidence. There's no way around it. Make more calls. Fail faster. If you want confidence in speaking, get up and speak. I'm going to be bad. Yes, you're going to be bad. But record yourself speaking, teaching. We do role play. We do scrimmaging. Why? Because that's how people become competent in sales. If you're not role playing, if you're not scrimmaging, you're messing up. You're taking a long way around. And when you guys are scrimmaging, do me a favor. When you're role playing and scrimmaging with each other, do what we call no drills. You have to make it hard. In our company, we make the practice hard so the game is easy. If you are one of my clients and I teach you what to say, and then I say, all right, now we're going to role play it. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be easy on you. I'm going to be hard on you. Why? Because when you meet with an actual prospect, you have got to have that no tolerance to the point where it doesn't bother you anymore. One of the best compliments I've gotten from a team member that I was training, she said, Steve, you make things so hard for me that when I'm talking with a customer, there is nothing that they can say to me that I'm not ready for. Oh, I feel good. I feel good when I hear stuff like that. What she was saying was this: you have prepared me. So when you guys are role playing with each other, scrimmaging with each other, let's make sure that you're preparing each other. You can't be easy. That's why we call them no drills. When I role play and scrimmage with my clients, I'll teach you what to say. I'll train you. We'll go through it. But once we dive into role play, right when you on the verge of thinking I'm going to say yes, I'm going to say nope, and I'm going to give you another objection. That's what a no drill is. I want to get you to the point where you're used to hearing the word no and overcoming that objection. We talk a little bit more. I give you another objection. You overcome that one. I give you another one. You overcome that one. That's what's going to get you guys ready. So let's talk about some key principles here. This is really huge. I want you to start speaking into existence the promises that you begin to make to yourself. You want to talk about confidence, right? How do you build confidence? You got to speak it into yourself, and then you take action. You speak it. The word says the power of death and life is in the tongue. When I hear team members, my clients, they may say negative things like, I'm no good at this. I'm terrible. I suck at this. I even had someone say, one of the people who teach me, now they don't teach sales, but they said, I suck at sales. And I'm like, bro, you're speaking that over yourself. You can't say that. Now, you may not be as good as other people in sales, but you don't suck at sales. Because I'm telling you right now, in your mind, it's set up that roadblock in your mind when you start going, I suck at sales. Because the next time you talk to somebody, that's what's going to come out. That's what's going to go to your mind. I'm terrible at this. Why? Because I suck at sales. So you got to start building some positive affirmation. Now hear me on this. You ain't going to get to where you need to be just by having positive affirmations and talking over and over again. But that's where it starts. The podcast is called 3% Mindset. Sales begins up here in your mindset. So I need you guys to start speaking positive over yourself, whether you believe it or not. The word even says something like, let he who is weak say he is strong, to call those things that be not as though they were. So I'm the best at sales. I help people with their problems. People come to me when they need their issue fixed, and I know exactly what to say. You got to be able to speak these things into existence. Again, we're talking about, the question is, how do I build confidence? I'm telling you, this is one of the ways you start to build that confidence. So I want to hear you guys speaking it. No more negative talk. Start talking to yourself before yourself starts talking to you. And we know what that sounds like. You ain't no good. You're going to mess up another sale. They don't want what you have. I know you don't say that to yourself, because when I first started, I used to say those type of things as well. So how do you build confidence? You got to be consistent. I want you to start speaking it. I want you to go out there. I want you to do it bad. I want you to do it ugly. Remember, every master was a what? Disaster. Every winner was a what? A beginner. Do it ugly. Don't wait until you get it perfect. Perfection is the enemy of profitability. The more you do it, I promise you, the confidence will come. Confidence isn't something that you find, guys. It's something that you build brick by brick, rep by rep, day by day. Now go rep it out. Question number 3. Woo, big one. Steve, how do you get past fear? I'm going to give you a couple of things I got from Tony Robbins when I went to UPW. Tony says fear has 2 meanings. Forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. All kinds of quotes on fear. You can go look them up. Go to Google and look up quotes on fear. But I'm talking about the 2 that really stand out to me. Is I got a choice to make. Am I going to forget every single thing and run away? Or am I going to face everything and rise to the top? Fear is a liar. Fear tells you that something is going to happen. It builds this thing up in your mind where you think you're going to lose, and it doesn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. So, how do I get past fear? Now, this is key. How do I get past fear? The question is not, how do you get rid of fear? And I know you may be thinking it's the same thing. Not true, not true. Please do not confuse the 2. You cannot get rid of fear. I don't care who you are. Fear is going to come. There are lots of things that make us afraid. And the mistake is when people ask me, how do you get rid of fear? You can't. What if I told you that today, even today, with all my experience, fear still comes? Fear is still there tapping on my shoulder. Fear is always whispering in my ear. The only difference is there was a time I would listen to the whisper, but now I don't listen anymore. Oh, it's still there. Your business is not going to be where it needs to be. You're not going to make as much you need to make. People don't want to hear you talk. This customer don't want your product. You're not as good as you think you are. You're not as good as they say you are. You're always going to be this. Fear, after all these years, it still talks to me. So I don't get rid of fear, I get past fear. Now, when fear starts to talk to me, and it does talk to me less on certain things, but now when fear starts to talk to me, I just simply don't listen, right? I always say that I treat fear like a little sister or a little brother. Some of you out there may have a little sister or a little brother. Do you remember when you would want to go somewhere? As a matter of fact, we got two daughters. We got Joy. Joy is 19. We got Jana. Jana is 17. So a couple of years ago, sometimes if Joy wanted to go somewhere, she wanted to go somewhere, hang out with a friend, and her mom would say, take your sister with you. And Joy, being the older sister, would be like, no, I don't want to do that, da-da-da. Same thing with my boys. Judah is 25. Josiah is 23. When they were younger and teenagers, Judah, like, I'm going here, I'm driving, I'm going to, what did mom say? Take your brother with you. I don't want to take my brother with me. But if you want to go, you better take him with you. Fear is that little annoying brother. Fear is that little annoying sister. No matter what you do, they're going to always be there. You didn't want them to come, but they're going to come regardless. Treat fear, let's be honest, treat fear like you treated your little brother, your little sister. What did we say when we were forced to take our little brother and little sister? All right, you can come, but you stand back there, you walk back there, you don't say nothing to me, I'm not going to say nothing to you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pretend like I don't even know you. I know you got to come, but I don't know you. Leave me alone. I treat fear the exact same way. All right, listen. I got to go on stage and speak. I know you're going to come. You're always there. But you can stand over there in that corner. Don't say nothing to me. And if you do start talking to me, I'm just going to ignore you. But no matter what, I'm going on this stage. I'm going to speak. I'm going to teach. I'm going to train. How about this? I'm going to start that podcast. Anybody want to hear you? Yeah, I hear you. But I'm still starting the podcast. I'm still gonna do the episodes. Ain't nobody gonna listen. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. Ain't nobody gonna buy it. Yeah, you might be right, but I'm still gonna do it. I don't know if this is Holy Spirit or just me. I piss fear off. I piss fear off. Fear is in the corner stomping because I won't listen to him. Yeah, see, in my mind, fear is a man, it ain't a woman. I piss him off. I piss him off. Why wouldn't he listen to me? Why wouldn't he stop? Why did he just keep going out there and doing what he wants to do? He pissed off. He pissed off. But when fear talks to you, how does fear feel? Does he feel like, I got him, I got her? Or are you pissing fear off? You should make a bold declaration to piss fear off. You should make a bold declaration that fear gonna be over in the corner stomping because you refuse to listen. He can go, she can go, but yeah, you ain't gotta listen to him. All right. So we talk about fear. Fear is often a signal that something matters, like something is going on. So that's why I say it's not that you can ignore it. All right. It kind of lets you know that, hey, there may be something going on. So you don't want to ignore it. You just don't want to listen to it. If you're afraid of speaking on stage, you get past fear, go speak on stage. If you're afraid of talking to somebody about your business, you get past fear, go talk about the business. If you're afraid of trying to make the sale, you get past fear, just go and try to make the sale. The cave you fear to enter has the treasure that you seek. Anything that you want in life, anything that's worth having, anything that's going to truly change your mind, change your finances, anything that's going to change you for the better, fear is always going to be there. You got to know that, guys. Freedom is on the other side of fear. Success is on the other side of fear. So imagine fear right here. You're here. Whatever you want, you got to go past fear if it's worth having. If it's worth having, you got to go past fear to be able to get there. The top 3%, we act even when we are afraid. don't for 1 second think that I don't get afraid. I still move in the face of fear. In the Marine Corps, one thing that taught us was about courage. Marine Corps are always about courage, lots of battles, all right, that we talk about. And when we think about courage, courage is moving forward in the presence of fear. It's not moving forward without fear. I mean, my goodness, if you could move forward without being afraid, then you wouldn't need courage. You would just go do it. But when you're afraid and that heart is beating so fast and so loud, you can literally hear it with your ears. When your chest is beating like this and your heart is about to jump out your chest, when your throat has a lump in it and your voice is so dry, you just can't get enough saliva, that fear is still there. When your underarms are just sweating, you cannot control any of that. All of those are the sign of fear. So what do 97% of people do when they start having all of those physical reactions? They stop, they quit, they sit down, they back up. 97%. What does the 3%er do? The 3%er acknowledges every single thing that I just said, and yet they still move forward. Come on to the other side. Come on to the 3%er side. It's going to be painful. You're going to have a fear of doing it, but you got to ask yourself, I may have a fear of doing it right now, but I don't want to experience regret later because I didn't do it. Fear shrinks through exposure. Write that down. Fear shrinks through exposure. So what am I talking about? Every time you do something that you're afraid to do, fear starts to shrink just a little bit more because they know they can't get to you. I talk about speaking. Most people have a fear of public speaking. I wanted to speak, but the first time I went on a stage, fear was still there. The second time, watch this, the second time I went on stage, fear was still there, but it shrunk just a little bit. Here I am 10 years into doing this. Fear is not really there anymore for that one thing, okay? It's not really there anymore. Why? I've done it so many times that fear shrinks every single time. So if you truly want to get past fear, I didn't say if you didn't want to be afraid anymore, but if you want to get past the fear, the more things you do that you're afraid of is going to shrink every single time. It's going to lose its power. But the problem is this: the more that you step back and don't do it, fear grows. So you got a choice to make. You want fear to shrink, or do you want it to grow? If you want it to shrink, keep doing the thing that you're afraid of. You want it to grow, keep avoiding the thing you are afraid of. The goal is not to eliminate fear. The goal is to stop letting fear make decisions for you. All right. Question number 4, Steve, how do you stay motivated when you're not getting results? I get the question. I already told you, stop trying to be motivated. It's about being disciplined. I hate being called a motivational speaker. And I know that that's what you say, and I appreciate it. If I inspire you, that's what Maggie said, that Pam said about me. Pam said you inspired her. Great. I'm happy that I'm inspired, Pam. Pam, I'm happy that I inspired you. But you know what I'm even more happy about is about the results. The fact that in 1 week, Pam helped 9 people get the life insurance that they needed. I am more excited about that because I educated Pam on what she needed to do, the questions she needed to ask to help solve the problem. So I don't like using the word motivated. I'm going to answer this question. How do I stay motivated when I'm not getting results? I don't stay motivated. I stay disciplined. That's how I get the results. I keep doing the activity when I don't feel like it. Let's use that word. All right. How do you continue to move forward when you're not getting those results? It's about we talked about this before. It's about my lead and lag measure. I understand what my closing ratio is, what my lead measure is. So I know that if I'm not getting results, the results are still going to come if I continue to develop my skill set. So if you're not getting results in sales, take a look at your skill set. What are you doing? What are you saying? It's two things. Activity. Are you speaking to enough people? And when you speak to those people, do you know what you're saying? Maybe you should be trained. Maybe you should reach out and say, hey, let me have the Risk Advisor Institute coach me and train me because I'm not getting the results. But don't get down on yourself. So remember, when I first started, I was a disaster. I was a beginner. When I first started, my goal was I need to make a sale. So let's say, I can't remember, it's been so long. If I wanted to make, 2 sales a week or 3 sales a week, that was my goal. If I did not make the 3 sales, watch this, I was not motivated because I was not getting results. I went from I got to make X amount of sales per week to I have to talk to X amount of people per week. That was my lead measure. I can't make you buy from me, but you can't stop me from asking. That is what you should be tracking. Understand how many people it takes for you to speak to in order to make 1 sale. And now you are in control of your sales. If it takes you 10 people to talk to make 1 sale, then you know that if you've got to make 5 sales, you got to talk to 50 people. You can control that. My old boss, John Kazaya, would always say, you control what you can control. I can control talking to 10 people today, whether I make a sale or not. I can't control talking to 10 people tomorrow, whether I make a sale or not. The next day, the next day, the next day. The problem is when people, go back to the word no. When you talk to 10 people today, you get 10 no's. Are you going to quit or are you going to still ask 10 people tomorrow? That's what the top producer does. So it's not about staying motivated. It's about staying disciplined. It's about continuing your activity. And then it's about developing your skill set because you want to be able to take 10 to 1 to 9 to 1, 8 to 1, 7 to 1, 6 to 1, because I'm developing my skill set. It doesn't take me to ask this many people anymore to make a sale. I can get to the point now where I can talk to 3 people and make 1 sale. Why? Because I developed my skill set. Motivation, guys, it's unreliable. Motivation is unreliable. You're not going to always feel like doing something. So you got to stay committed. And here's what commitment means. The best definition of commitment. We got to make sure that we get the job done. It's not about feeling motivated. It's about getting the job done. So if you're relying on motivations or feelings, you're already in trouble. The people who win aren't the people who are motivated. Those are the people who are, what's the word? Committed. All right. So marry the process, divorce the results. The process. I'm not worried about the results. 10 people a day, whether I make a sale or whether I don't make a sale. 10 people tomorrow, 10 people the next day. I promise you the sales are going to come. A good friend of mine, when I first started in sales at John's office, her name was Stephanie Slack. And Stephanie would always say, like we do the quote, and I'm like, all right, Stephanie, I'm ready to go. She says, all right, sell it. And that would like motivate me to the point I was like, all right, this is good, right? I'm going somewhere. It would motivate me. I was motivated. I had the feeling. Stephanie like, sell it. But if I didn't make the sale, then I would get down on myself. And then the next day, Stephanie said, all right, here it is, sell it. And I had to get to the point where it wasn't the sale that I was focused on. It was the activity. See, I had to learn that it was about the activity, whether I sold it or not. So don't focus on the motivation. Don't necessarily focus on the sale. Focus on the activity, and you're going to get to where you need to be. All right. Let's move on to the final question. Question number 5, Steve, how do you handle self-doubt? First, I want you to understand that self-doubt is normal. There are specific things right now I still deal with, guys, in self-doubt. Not a lot, but there are still some things I deal with in self-doubt. So the problem is not experiencing self-doubt. That's going to happen. The issue is when you allow self-doubt to make you quit, make you stop, and make you give up. Okay? We know that feelings are not facts. Just because you feel something, it don't make it true, good or bad. Now, let me show you how you can get past self-doubt, just like you can get past fear. A lot of times we have self-doubt because we haven't, if we're honest, we haven't truly prepared the way we know we should be prepared. Like when I had to take a test in school, I was full of self-doubt. Why? Because I didn't study. I looked at a couple of pages, I flipped through a couple of pages, but I had self-doubt because I didn't study. There has never been a time that I have prepared the way I should prepare and had self-doubt, because I prepared for it. And once you prepare for something, you start to chip away at that self-doubt that comes, right? So like I said, don't listen when that voice comes. No, I've done everything I know how to do. I've prepared well, so I'm not really worried about that. Here's the reality. Self-doubt, just like fear, it never really kind of disappears. It's always there. It's kind of like always on your shoulder. You start to doubt yourself. So once again, we're talking about the affirmations. I know that God put me in this position to help people to be able to change lives. I know that. I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I know that I'm more than a conqueror. I know that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So there's no self-doubt in who I was created to be. There may be self-doubt in my abilities or my skill set. There may be self-doubt in that, but I don't have any self-doubt in myself, right? So those things I can work on, developing my skill set, learning what to say, learning what not to say, learning how to do this, learning how to do that. The more work you put into it, that's going to help chip away at that, at that self-doubt. So remember, it's a feeling. It's not a forecast. Self-doubt it's a feeling. And I already said your feelings will lie to you, just like fear. Okay. So self-doubt, it's almost like, I want to think about imposter syndrome, but I don't know if I want to really cover that today. I tell you what, I'm running over. So I'm going to cover imposter syndrome on the next podcast, because I've had a lot of people talk to me about that or ask questions about that. So let's bring this home. Okay. So we talked about rejection. Remember, they are not rejecting you. Don't take it personally. They're rejecting themselves. They're rejecting their family, their dreams. They're rejecting the things that they want to have, in life. We know that confidence is earned through action. Fear is conquered by moving forward. You're not going to forget everything and run. You will face everything and rise. We know that motivation is replaced by discipline. And we know that self-doubt loses its power when you stop believing every thought that you have. Top 3%, guys, we're mentally tough. That's the difference. And we had to develop, I might have to deal with that. We had to develop this mental toughness. It's not necessarily something that we were born with. So let me give you your mission for today, and I'm going to send you on your way. I want you guys to start tracking your lead and lag measure. We're going to get past fear. We're going to get past this self-doubt, the confidence and everything. We're going to dive into action and skill set. So I want you to start tracking your lead and lag measure. How many people do you need to speak to each day to be able to make a sale? Okay, today, tomorrow, track it for about the next 30 days. And then that way you'll be able to put some real numbers to that. That's what you're going to do. Remember, marry the process, divorce the results. All right, sales team, 3%ers. This has been your mindset shift for the week. Until next week, let's make sure we go out there. Let's get it done. Until then, hoorah. 3% mindset.
Yeah. We're the 3%ers. Yeah. You gotta know what your word. Don't need more than just words. We don't just talk and we live it. You want it, go get it and put in that word. We're the 3.